Good evening. I'm ANCHORPETE, and I'm here with my wife, Shari T. And oh boy, after 7 weeks, we are finally here at our Mare of Easttown finale.
I'm going to miss it.
Yeah. And we're going to miss you guys because since this show started, we've gotten a whole bunch of new followers and we've gotten a whole bunch of comments. And one of my favorite things throughout the week is just seeing how much everyone's been involved. Just giving their speculation on what ultimately happened. And I have to say that none of my predictions were right.
We talked about some of this. I would love to hear what everybody thought of this episode. We're going to talk spoilers, so if you haven't watched the final episode of Mare of Easttown, why not? But also, go do it before you watch us here. Did you think it was a good episode?
I think it was a fantastic episode. I actually think that this show is probably one of my favorite HBO shows I've seen ever. It was like really, really well done. That's sort of vague. I want to explain why. It told its story in one season. It was very satisfying. It could have been sensational. It was a little bit sensational, but it could have gone overboard. Just every bit of it was satisfying, and the finale wrapped it up very well.
I thought the finale was pretty understated. I don't know what you guys thought. Of course there was this twist, but the whole thing's just kind of this Shakespearean tragedy, right? No one's really a terrible murdering person here. The really bad person was the kidnapper that we discovered in episode 5.
Yeah.
Who killed Sable and kidnapped those girls. That's where, horrendous person is. The Ryan, the young son killing Aaron, and why, and the husband being the father of her baby, John Ross being the father of her baby. None of it. Yes, these are flawed people, but it was like a row of dominoes. Just one thing led to another, and no one did all of the wrong. No one was responsible for all of the wrongdoing. So, like I said, a tragedy.
Yeah. It that one family has essentially been gutted. The show has been about families just having horrible things happening, and how it affects every member of the family, and it's generations of the family are messed up because of the actions of a few family members.
Right.
Ultimately, it is John Ross's fault that all this happened, right?
Yeah, but you can't say because he had an affair that he deserved to go down for murder, or that a murder could be committed.
No.
Adultery is not the same as murder, right? So, that's what I'm saying. Every little thing led to another, and there's several members of the family responsible, for all of the pain and grief that pretty much Lori has to bear more than anyone, I think. She's kind of one of the main family member who didn't really do anything wrong except be a good mother, good wife, and she's the one who has to bear all the consequences. Watch her son go down, watch her husband go down, watch her brother-in-law go down, and to watch her best friend take them all down.
Yeah,
I really felt for Lori Ross in this episode, and she has really good scene where she screams at Mare that it's all her fault.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That put tears in my eyes. I just felt so bad for her. Felt bad for Mare.
Yeah.
Suck situation.
What is that actress's name? Do you remember?
It's Julianne Nicholson.
Okay, yeah. I think, because I've been thinking about the show, if people are going to be nominated for best performance, when it comes to the Emmys, right?
Yeah, there's Emmys and Golden Globes. There's a few TV awards.
Yeah, HBO usually, mops up the floor, and I think that, she might be nominated, and Jean Smart and Kate Winslet.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That scene that you're talking about, I just kept thinking about how that's what's going on with her. And the beginning of that scene, she's just covering her eyes. She almost kind of looked like that creature in Pan's Labyrinth that kind of covered its eyes. You know that one where it has eyeballs on its hands or whatever? Yeah, she's just sitting there. And they did this thing where they didn't have the sound for a minute. It was just kind of silent. And that's when you could really feel the sort of the hurt from her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you satisfied with the murder solution? What actually happened?
Yes.
Okay.
And we had a viewer, at least one or two viewers, go guess this, pretty much guess this.
Yeah.
And I've heard similar theories. Only it would be Mare's family who, Siobhan did it to protect her father, who she thought was having an affair with Aaron, right? So it was either Mare's family or it was going to be the Ross family. I think. I think we've all been kind of guessing along those lines for a few episodes now.
Yeah.
Especially after that one scene a few episodes ago where they were all watching football and there was clearly something shady with Billy Ross, and then Lori Ross mentioning, oh yeah, Aaron used to live with him. And I remember we were like, what's going on with the Ross family that they have all of this knowledge and didn't tell Mare, you know? And we have also talked about how Ryan, they had a few scenes with Ryan and compared it to Mystic River, in which another young boy is the culprit. We have talked about it. We've talked about many possibilities, so I'm not going to say we guessed the answer or anything like that. I'm not going to take credit, but we have had a few people comment and actually get this exactly right.
They said that it was going to be the son.
Yeah, and that Billy and John were kind of trying to cover up for him. Yes, I saw that comment.
Yeah. I feel a little foolish because I did say it was like John Ross was 80%, and I said Siobhan. Boy, am I glad that Siobhan was not connected to this in any way.
Yeah, she was part of the family drama side, which we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was impossible to know really what was going to happen. They could have done a lot of things, and I do think this added up. They gave us a lot of like clues.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but a few clues so that this didn't come out of nowhere. There were enough clues here that we have talked about Ryan Ross being the killer.
Yeah.
You know, they had that scene in the cafeteria where we're like, what's up with that? You know, what's going on with that scene? Why would they have that there? Why are they showing this about this kid?
Yeah.
And they needed that scene so that this would make sense.
Yeah, there's a couple of other scenes too, right? Because there was that one scene where like John was talking to him and he was like, that's our secret.
Yeah,
right.
And the scene where Ryan comes in and stares at the TV, and that's when we first started talking about him, I think.
Yeah. So it was satisfying. It's kind of funny because it's like one of those situations where, you know, it's like this is ending a little too early for this to be the end conclusion.
Oh yeah, in the first 10 minutes it was all wrapped up. It's like John did it. He confessed.
Yeah.
You know, Billy. What did Billy even do wrong?
Well, so I was going to ask you this question too, right? Because I was like, wait a minute, something's not adding up. Because there was the idea that they were kind of meeting together because their dad, his name's like Pat Ross, right? He confided in John. He's like, hey, Billy was covered in blood, right? And that's what kind of got the ball rolling for them. But I think that what was it that like made them feel like they had to act like they had what made John think that he had to shoot Billy? Was it because Mare found the locket? There was something, right? There was something that moved that forward.
I just thought Billy might tell because Billy knew his son did it. Like John and Lori were going to do whatever they could to protect their son, which is interesting. What a shithead John is, like having these affairs on his wife. But I do like the idea that just because you're an adulterer doesn't mean that you're an all around bad person, right?
Yeah,
so you definitely are like lacking some empathy, and you're selfish, and you're doing things that make you feel good and not caring how it's going to hurt your family. But it doesn't mean you don't love your son or care about your wife, right? I like that. I mean, I do think that's more realistic of what people really are.
And he couldn't even kill his brother, right? Like I really thought he was going to shoot him, in the very beginning.
Yeah, he was having trouble.
Yeah, I'm glad that turned out the way they did. I'm glad that he didn't kill himself. I'm glad that Billy didn't get killed. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it was all around. It was kind of a positive ending. I mean, mainly for Mare's family, right? I mean, the sun was coming out. Mare actually wore like some light colors, almost whites or light gray, which I'm sorry, the whole show she's been dressed in like drab, dark colors. I mean, to me, it was symbolic. The priest makes that lovely, eloquent speech in church, and everybody's in church, I might add. I'm pretty sure Mare didn't normally go to church, but she's in church because I guess she's feeling positive. I mean, everybody... It was really looking out for Mare's family. Mare is getting along with Frank's new wife. They're hanging out at a table in a restaurant making jokes. Yeah, they're having a blasty blast, and they're having a really good time. And Siobhan goes off to Berkeley to pursue her dreams without feeling burdened by the family because Mare gives her okay. She gives her blessing.
Yeah.
Is just really happy. Oh, and Carrie, Jerry's mom, really was using, which we were not sure about that, right? We thought maybe she was just exhausted, but she was using drugs. She backs out of the picture, does the right thing.
That was pretty sad. I kind of almost cried at that point. I just felt really bad for her, I felt bad that like she was really trying.
Yeah,
she was really trying to take care of her son.
Right. This is not a show that was going to they didn't want to paint anyone as all out bad, except for the kidnapper who they didn't.
Oh yeah, that guy was a dick.
He was a terrible person. He only got one episode. So,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
killed him.
Considering the first episode, we called Sunday Night Depression in our personal
thumbnail.
episode, in our thumbnail. Like
Right.
the show ended up being pretty positive.
Yeah, I think, was it you or was it one of the people in the comments that said that it was going to be the last scene with Mare going up into the attic? Was it you?
I don't think so.
Somebody said like the last scene was going to be Mare going into the attic. So whoever you are in the comments, you're awesome. You called it.
Yeah.
And boy, do I feel silly saying that Father Dan was the killer.
He just wants to drink some Cosmopolitan.
Manhattans or something with the mom, right? She fell out of her chair.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jean's smart.
Yeah, she ends up being kind of comic relief.
Yeah.
I was wondering if more was going to happen with her character, and I'm okay with her just being like the support. She has like a really good line in this episode where she tells Mare, even when I seem like I'm against you, I'm actually really rooting for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty, a lot of mother-daughter relationships have that vibe.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm a son. I don't know.
Well, I've seen it. You know, we have daughters, right? So, and you're a daughter, so I've seen some stuff like that. So just, I'm trying to think, there's so much I freaking want to say about this finale right here.
What did you think of Guy Pearce, who added up to nothing? Not even a manuscript entitled Mare of Easttown. I was kind of like really hoping for that. I would have liked that ending better than what they gave us with Guy Pearce.
I'm glad you asked though, because I actually really liked what he said to her at the very end. I was well written. He was like, you know, all the best things in my life have been unexpected things. And he said that she was one of them, and I think that was really positive.
Yeah, there were so many moments in this episode where it's like, these are life lessons.
Yeah.
Life lessons for Mare and for the viewer, right? Any of us could take some like comments out of this episode and like apply them to our own lives and live with it. And like, it'd be good advice.
Well, even the priest had this excellent speech, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, that was the title of the episode too. It's called Sacrament. And so I was trying to think like, well, what sacrament is it? Communion? But I'm thinking confession is one of the sacraments too, right?
Yeah, there's 7 sacraments. Yeah, I mean, they're all different things, though. So I'm not sure which sacrament they meant in the title. Maybe they just mean all of the sacraments. Sacrament is a sacred thing.
Yeah. Is there any sacrament that's connected to like sort of helping the grieving or like there is? That maybe that's what this one was about. Because boy, at the very end when like Lori and Mare. Oh yeah, the name of the main character of the show that's named after, like when she just starts to cry on her. Right, and like they kind of like fall backwards. Boy, that was powerful, you know. Yeah,
and I really like how that came full circle because we have the scene in episode 3 where Mare is leaning on Lori on the bench. You know, it's kind of a famous picture. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's one of our thumbnails.
Yeah, it's one of our thumbnails, and I've seen it out there a lot. Anyway, they have that conversation back in that scene where Mare's the one whose life is really fucked up and she's having a lot of trouble, and Lori is like, you're pushing everyone away, and Mare's like, what about you? And Lori says, I won't let you push me away. And then they have kind of that intimate bonding moment where she leans her head on her shoulder and we get that, you know, nice image and thumbnail. And like it comes full circle here in this final episode in one of the final scenes where Lori has tried to push Mare out, try to blame her for everything, but really she needs Mare more than ever because her family has fallen apart and Mare really is the closest person to her. And Mare realizes that after the deacon's speech, I think, the deacon's sermon, whatever he's giving, and she goes to Lori's house, and she, despite Lori saying, I don't want to talk to you, not answering her phone calls, not answering her texts, she goes anyway.
Yeah.
And I really like that it's wordless, right? So there's nothing you can really say to make this better.
Yeah, that was really excellent scene.
Yeah, so she's just going to be there for her, even though she won't let Lori push her out, you know, as Lori once said to her. So it's really nice writing, really nice to come full circle.
Well, that brings up a thing that I wanted to ask you, but I also wanted to ask the people that leave the comments all the time too. What do you think that says about Mare and the fact that she has to arrest the son? She has to have justice occur, right?
Yeah.
Like, because she could have let the son go and John could have taken the rap for it and that would have been it, right? And the son didn't have to go to juvenile hall. What is her motivation? Why does she have to do that? Is she compelled by justice? What is the whole thing there?
Yeah, I do think she's compelled by justice. I think that's exactly it. I think there are some types of people who, and you'll be familiar with these terms. There's lawful good and there's chaotic.
Oh, D&D.
Yeah, there's lawful good and there's chaotic good. And a lawful good person is going to do things by the rules and by the law, and that's how they operate. And I think that is what Mare is. Yeah. And that's what that's what she displays here. And if you're chaotic good, you might be more of a Robin Hood type who this is against the law to steal, but I'm going to do it because I'm stealing for someone who's starving, and I'm going to feed them with the things I've stolen, with the money or the bread I've stolen. And so she's that type.
That's a good point.
It's an aspect of her personality and her character, and it is what makes her a very appropriate person to be a detective, I think.
Yeah, that is my favorite type of cop or detective type character, where it's like, even though their life might be a big fuck up, like kind of hers is, it's like she still has that moral. It's like, this is the right thing to do as a cop. Because there's many shows with corrupt cops that you still are like the main characters and you get behind, and they're interesting, compelling shows. But that's ultimately my favorite. I don't really like the corrupt cop shows. I like when it's like maybe their life is a mess, but they still have that sort of that moral high ground.
Okay. I mean, I personally love a chaotic good person who is like going to break the rules because the rules don't always apply to the right. Like the rules don't always take care of what they should take care of. Does that make sense? Like, because of the law, things don't, people get away with murder, right? And like there could be someone, like vigilante justice is an example of chaotic good, I think, kind of. And like I always kind of personally like that. So maybe it's more my type of person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I don't know that I agree with Mare's decision. I'm not against it. I think I don't know if I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting though, right?
I might have let my friend keep her son, you know?
Yeah, just as we were having this conversation, I was trying to think of like, well, what are some things that she's done that's morally wrong? I thought of a really blaring example of when she put the drugs on Carrie, right? Yeah. So that's like the opposite, right? So
did it fit with her character maybe?
Yeah, it was a little out of character. It was like a definite low point. We have our comment for tonight. Dollar budget is thrown in there, 2 cents.
Hey.
She's okay. So still seems like the Dylan, Jess, and other guy wrap up seemed false. Why did they chase her and pull a gun on Jess? Ooh, that's a good point. Just to keep DJ's paternity a secret seems extreme.
Yeah, I agree. That didn't add up to much, did it?
Yeah. Those scenes definitely made it seem more sinister than what the actual thing was. What did you think about that whole resolution of like why they were trying to keep things secret? What did you think of
that? It left us wanting, I guess. I mean, I kind of forgot about it because they spent so little time on it.
Yeah, it was real quick.
Yeah, it was really quick, and it was wrapped up like that. And Dylan has that scene where he comes to the door and actually gives Aaron's money over.
Yeah.
Which was like such a good person thing to do. I wasn't expecting him to do that. Yeah, and Jess's Aaron's best friend Jess, her whole excuse was just, I thought that's what Aaron would want. So yeah, they seemed like red herrings, right?
Yeah, it was one of those scenes where it's like you want the audience to think one thing, even though it's not what makes sense within the story or with the characters. It's just a kind of, exactly like you said, like a red herring. It just makes us think a certain thing, but it's not really what's going on. It's not really reality.
Yeah. Can we forgive the show for red herrings? I can, because I don't think it was like an extreme red herring.
Yeah.
I don't know. It threw us off a little, but I never really thought they were the ones who did it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I did wonder what was going on. Oh, how about the picture? I've been obsessing about what was in the picture that Jess brought to the chief.
And that picture's so ridiculous.
So Aaron snuck a picture of sleeping naked John next to her.
Did she take it like because she was happy that was him sleeping? Or like, why did she take that picture?
I think when you're the other woman and the man's married, you might just know you want that for proof one day, you know, especially if you're pregnant.
Oh, okay. Well, that brings up another question then, right?
I do think she had kind of like the ill intention that she might need that one day.
She was going to blackmail him. Okay.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know that she like had that all planned out. I mean, when I think about this, if Aaron died when she was 17, what is she, 15 when he's sleeping with her? Really yucky.
Well, I mean, okay, so besides that being real yucky, I mean, they are related too, right? Like they're not, it's not like her uncle, right? Because it's like their dads are he's her dad's cousin, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little removed, but still, I mean, come on. That's yeah. Okay. Sorry.
It's yucky.
Incest people. But anyway, my question to you was, how did she have the money in the envelope? What was that from? Was that from that site?
Yeah, remember when they went through the journals? Yeah. He found the money labeled DJ's ear surgery.
Right. But where did she get that? Did she get that from the...
Where did who get that?
Aaron had that money.
I just feel like we should have talked about that like episodes ago. I mean, she earned it.
By doing the side door thing?
They don't really say, but I guess she made money somehow.
Okay. So it wasn't... She never got the money from John Ross.
No, if I don't know why John Ross wouldn't pay for it. Maybe he didn't have the money, but he knows it was his son and that he needed ear surgery. He should have paid for it.
I have another question for you guys and for you too. The whole inciting incident that makes Mare know about the son being the murderer is that the guy, Mr. Carroll, says, "Hey, well, my gun was missing, but then it was back." Right?
Yeah.
Like, didn't the kid just like take it in the middle of the night and then bring it back in the middle of the night? Right?
He brought it back, but no, I mean, I don't think we know that how long it took him to bring it back.
Okay.
I didn't see like a hole there.
Okay.
I don't think that was a plot hole. He says he brought it back. He didn't say when. And the guy didn't say how long it was missing. He just noticed it was missing at some point.
Okay. Yeah, but did you notice that? Right, with that family, she would go to their house like maybe like at least 3 times, and then the wife died in the car accident. So like that family was always kind of like a catalyst for the investigation, right? Because like the very first thing of the show is her going to that woman's house. So,
I know. No, I mean, so I think this is a good ending because it does add up. Things add up.
Yeah.
Little people you saw here and there
Right.
do matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the whole kidnapping thing was actually the biggest red herring of the show.
Yeah.
Like it didn't really go with the Aaron murder at all. We could have had the whole Aaron murder separate from the kidnapping. It was sort of a distraction or something. But it's okay. I mean, they needed 7 episodes and it made it exciting and
it definitely made it exciting, yeah. And you know, it like, what do you think about Zabel's case? Like that whole thing, like he kind of represented like getting vindicated after he died, right? Like essentially, like he didn't solve this one mystery, and then he's part of this other mystery, but he ends up getting killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you think that kind of ties in with Mare's story?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm sorry, hitting you with the hard question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. Why is Zabel there, and why is his story there?
I mean, it was definitely
Jesus.
It was definitely a big thing with him, where like he pointed out that like he didn't solve the case; it was someone else that solved the case, right? And then he goes and he finds the actual person that did the kidnapping, and he gets killed. You know, because this last episode kind of reminded me of him in his case too, because they thought it was all done. And then Mare kind of stumbled upon some extra info after the case happened, you know? So, I don't know. There's just something to that, like the whole detective process. And like, yeah, you think a case is closed, but then, more evidence comes to light.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's you writing?
Oh, yeah, dollar budget. Let's see. Glad Mare did the right thing about Ryan. I would have thought Lori had been in jail too. Yeah, I thought that too, actually.
Yeah, how about the obstruction of justice charge that the deacon went down for? Maybe Lori should go down for a similar thing.
Yeah, and then Aaron earning escort money, I think, for the ear surgery. Yeah, appreciate you joining on that thread with us. Yeah, that's probably where she got it from. So, what else do you have to say about the situation? Oh, what about Katie Bailey? Right, we can talk about that for 2 seconds too. That was part of the show.
Yeah.
So the mom. Do you think that was her natural hair?
Yeah.
So, like, she's getting over cancer too, or?
That's what I'm saying. This is kind of like a much happier ending than I was expecting from this show. The happiest episode they've had. Really, was this finale episode. I've heard that the show has been so successful for HBO that they were thinking of doing a season 2. Although this was always supposed to be just a short.
Yeah.
What is it? A mini series? Yeah. And it was never supposed to be part 2. But of course, when something's successful, they can't help it. They have to try to make a sequel. Man. I really hope they don't. They really wrapped this up. I don't see any need for them to make more.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah. Remember you were saying how like Big Little Lies, like that was a complete story in itself. And then they made that 2nd season.
Right. Big Little Lies is based on a book. It ends in a really satisfying way, and then because it was a successful show, HBO decides to make a season 2, which I attempted to watch and it really sucked. So like, don't do that. Don't just try to make money, don't
bring Mare back, man.
Hopefully Kate Winslet doesn't make that decision. They can't do it without her.
So guys, it's been a real blast having you guys join us and talk. This has been the most successful kind of series we've done on this channel so far. We want to keep doing things like this moving forward. And so we said that we were going to do Lisey's story, the Stephen King book. It's going to be an Apple TV show, and it's starting like next week, right? So if you guys want to join us for that, we'd love to have you with us. But if you have suggestions for something else that might be on like HBO Max or Hulu, and it's about to start or it just started, let us know in the comments, okay? And if you haven't liked and subscribed, now's the time too.
And I just want to say it's been really fun watching this and talking about it with you guys. I haven't seen this kind of solidarity amongst the public watching a show since Game of Thrones. You know, I haven't seen everybody kind of is watching the same show on a Sunday night. That doesn't happen that often.
No.
So I think that's kind of a special thing, especially since we have so many streaming services in this day and age, and everybody is watching their own thing. It's rare to get everybody watching the same thing. So
yeah,
it's been really fun and special to share that with everyone.
Yeah, it's one of those water cooler shows, right? And we thank you guys for letting us have the water cooler. So until Lissy's story or something else that you guys suggest, we'll see you guys next.